Yeah, it's Friday. I said, it's Friday. I got off the phone earlier with my last little I-9 interview. I got the email, start date. I'm going to work, y'all. I'm so excited. So I'm trying to get a lot of stuff in quickly. Still talking about Israel's struggle doctrine. Don't worry, I'm going to teach on Jesus being a sinner soon, like maybe Saturday, maybe even tonight. But I'm going to get this one in. It shouldn't be that long, but I want to finish up with Israel's struggle doctrine. Oh, what a liar we have proved him to be. Shout out to Brother Bowie, shout out to Brother Danny, and shout out to Brother Marlon. Nigga trying to scapegoat these people, lying on them. All we have to do is go to their websites and see they are not Hebrew Israelites. Lying bastard. All right. And no, Miss Troutmouth. No, Miss Troutmouth. I don't need to go on Israel's Struggle Doctrines channel to teach what I teach and prove you niggas to be wrong and liars. Talking about you not gonna watch my videos, but if you want to talk about it, come over there. No, heifer. Go over and see that I proved that Jesus was not the only man to walk the earth that's perfect. As a matter of fact, I proved that Jesus wanted no parts of this ideal of perfection. Why call me good? There is none good but one, and that is God. That's what Jesus says in Matthew, Mark, and Luke. I don't have to go over there to prove what I said. I don't have to do a face-to-face. We are in the 21st century. We are in the age of internet. We are in the age where everybody can say their piece, speak their truth, and ride in their own lane. I don't give a fuck who's tired of watching the back and forth. Turn the fucking channel. Who's tired of seeing me and Israel's struggle doctrine go back and forth? Who? Ain't nobody on this side, ain't none of my subscribers text me or put it in the chat or put it in the commentary on the chat wall saying, Khalil, stop. I ain't heard it. I ain't heard it from Jafar the Messenger Black Man. I ain't heard it from Zartan. I ain't heard it from Leak-U. I ain't heard it from nobody. And it doesn't matter. It's my channel. I use you bitch niggas as content and a teaching tool. Let's go. So let me correct Israel doctrine on some other shit he said. The nigga, he says that nobody's ever heard or used the phrase Israelite doctrine in the 20th century or 21st century. And he would be correct. Because he made it up. The fact that only in the last year, a cryptic and spurious phrase like Israelite Christian has come up before us, it tells you it was just made up. I mean, it's good to be the first at doing shit. Hell, I was the first writer, hip-hop writer, to write about homophobia in hip-hop and rap music. I'm the first to do it. Nothing wrong with being the first. But in being the first, you got to come correct. You can't be at first at doing bullshit. You can't be the first at creating a lie. That ain't no flex. You're not stunting when you do that. And the reason why the phrase Israelite Christian is bullshit is because those two words are antithetical to one another. Those two words are the opposition of one another. Those two words are the very juxtaposition of one another, simply because a Israelite believes in the 613 laws, statutes, judgments, and commandments of God. And the Christian believes in Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior without any of the Old Testament 613 laws. So they're like this. As far as east is to west, north is to south. That's how far those two words apart. And that's why you don't find those words in the lips of anybody. You can't go in no biblical encyclopedia or biblical dictionary. There are no entries for the word Israelite Christian. The phrase Israelite Christian is not in the Bible at all. It's a spurious phrase, just like Hebrew Israelite. But Hebrew Israelite gets more credit than Israelite Christian because at least, you can find those two words, Hebrew and Israelite, in the same book, in the same chapter, and in the same verse. Let me show you the words Hebrew Israelite. Ooh, I got the wrong one. I thought it was Acts 11. Well, Acts 11 is the one about Antioch. Oh, Corinthians. I think I spoke wrong earlier when I said that, but it's all okay. I'm old. Is it Corinthians? I know it's 11 too, so let's level it down so we can know. Let me put it in my let me put it. It must be 2 Corinthians. Let me put it in my thing so I'll have it. Okay. 2 Corinthians 11:22. In an earlier video, I think I misspoke and said that the Hebrew Israelite thing was in Acts 11:26, but it's actually in 1 Corinthians 11:22. 1 Corinthians 11:22. I got it. See? The difference between Israel doctrine calling himself a Israelite Christian and then complaining and bitching about people who call themselves Hebrew Israelites is this. The Hebrew Israelite has more credibility because those two words, again, are found in the same book, 2 Corinthians, the same chapter, chapter 11, and in the same verse, 22. Here it is. This is the Hebrew Israelite. Are they Hebrews? So am I. Are they Israelites? So am I. Are they the seed of Abraham? So am I. So at least you have those two words being in the same book, 2 Corinthians, in the same chapter, chapter 11, and in the same verse, 22. Hebrews and Israelites. It's not a far leap to put them together as Hebrew Israelites. Okay? But now we talk about this word, this phrase that he created. Israelite Christian. Can you show us that in the Bible? Why you are denigrating the Hebrew Israelites? They have something to stand on. 2 Corinthians 11:22. But what do you have to stand on, Pizzy Piz? You don't even have a scripture that closely puts those words Israelite and Christian together. So you are a hypocrite. You are a hypocrite to be against the phrase Hebrew Israelite, which is in the same book, the same chapter, and the same verse. You are a hypocrite for condemning that and then making up a name that has nowhere to be found in the Bible. Israelite Christian. You are worse than the Hebrew Israelites. Now, you made another mistake. You make another blunder. And that is you call him the wrong name, the late, great Herbert W. Armstrong. You call him William Armstrong. That was not his name. His name was Herbert W. for Wright, W-R-I-G-H-T. His middle name was Wright, named after his mother. You called him William. So let's just get into some of this conversation of this lying bastard.
Cash Street like never before, because you never heard the term Israelite Christian.
See? He agrees with me. We've never heard the term Israelite Christian. So if we've never heard the term Israelite Christian, what gives you the permission, what gives you the reason to say the phrase Hebrew Israelite is wrong? When again, we can find those two words in the same book, same chapter, same verse. But your word that you made up, Israelite Christian, it cannot be found in the same book or the same chapter or the same verse. It cannot be found in the Bible at all.
Used in this century.
See, he says you can't find it used in this century. What he's about to imply is that the phrase Israelite Christian was used in the 20th century. And he's going to accredit a great pastor by the name of Herbert W. Armstrong with using that phrase. And he's lying on the dead man. Herbert W. Armstrong never used the phrase together, Israelite Christian. But he's about to say, he said, you never heard it in this century. In other words, in a previous century, it was used. That's what he's lying about. It was never used. Let's go on.
William Armstrong used it last century.
He's a liar. He's a motherfucking liar. If Herbert W. Armstrong, Herbert Wright Armstrong, not William Armstrong, if he used it, produce it. If Herbert W. Armstrong used the phrase Israelite Christian, show it to us. That's the challenge. Now I got $6,000 if he can show it to us. So I'm talking about $6,000, which I never said before. He's lying on a dead man. He lied, and he lied on the man's name. His name was not William Armstrong. His name was Herbert Wright Armstrong, or Herbert W. Armstrong, number one. And number two, Herbert W. Armstrong never, ever used the phrase Israelite Christian. What Herbert W. Armstrong talked about and invented was what they call British Israelism. Herbert W. Armstrong was a Christian, but he did not call himself an Israelite Christian. He talked about people being of the British Israelism type of tradition. Go look it up. Let me show you something while we're talking about Herbert W. Armstrong. So, since the man calls him the wrong name, let's talk about that first.
Used in this century.
Here it comes.
William Armstrong used it last century.
So he calls him William Armstrong. Let me show you who he's trying to talk about. Just like he didn't know what the Immaculate Conception is, just like he didn't know anything about the people known as the Way, the early followers of Jesus, now he fucks up this man's name. Again, the man's name is Herbert W. Armstrong. What does the W stand for? It's right here. Early life. Herbert Armstrong was born July 31st, 1892 in Des Moines, Iowa, into a Quaker family. the son of Eva Wright, see Wright? The son of Eva Wright, and Horace Elon Armstrong. So he becomes Herbert W. for Wright, and then his daddy's last name. He took on his mother's last name as his middle name, Wright, and he took on his father's last name as his last name. And there he is. What a great man. Some of y'all might remember him. He used to be on TV a lot, Herbert W. Armstrong. He wrote some outstanding Christian literature. He wrote some apocalyptic literature and some end of times literature. He wrote some really good stuff. I used to watch him, and I studied some. He had a church called the Worldwide Church of God. He was a great, he was on the radio also. He was a great Bible teacher. Strong. You could learn a lot from Herbert W. Armstrong. But now Israel Doctrine is claiming that in the 20th century, this man, Herbert W. Armstrong, used the phrase Israelite Christian. He did not. He's lying on a dead man. He talked about spiritual Israelism as the Christians. Here it is right here. British Israelism. See? Among Armstrong's teachings required observance of part of the Mosaic law. He believed in some of the law, including the seventh-day Sabbath, dietary prohibitions, and the covenant law, holy days. He also proclaimed that behind contemporary world events loomed various biblical prophecies interpreted in light of British Israelism. See? He used the word Israelism. See, Israel struggle doctrine. He talks the talk, but he won't walk the walk. If you're going to say that a man like Herbert W. Armstrong, not William Armstrong, used the phrase Israelite Christian, show us, nigga, show us. I said, show us, nigga. Show us. Back it up. Listen to him lie on Herbert W. Armstrong. He's going to lie on the man's name, and he's going to lie on what the man stood for. Okay? Listen to this.
Used in this century.
Here it comes.
William Armstrong used it last century.
Now,
A European that said he was an
what did he use?
Israelite Christian. Like never before, because you never heard the term Israelite Christian used in this century.
So he says you never heard the term Israelite Christian used in this century, meaning the 21st century. Like he made it up. But now he's going to give the credit to a dead white man who he says used this term Israelite Christian in the 20th century. Here it goes.
William.
That wasn't his name. His name was Herbert Wright, not William. Herbert Wright Armstrong.
Armstrong used it last century.
Now, right there, if this is true, that, as he calls him, William Armstrong, correctly, Herbert Wright Armstrong, if it's true that Herbert W. Armstrong used the phrase Israelite Christian, what a powerful piece it would be right now, to show and prove. If he could prove that William W. Armstrong used the phrase Israelite Christian, do you know how much that would bolster? It would bolster his conversation, his premise, his religious understanding. If he could find someone of the magnitude. I said Herbert W. Armstrong was a religious giant, having thousands, if not millions, of followers worldwide. If he could find one time where Herbert W. Armstrong used it verbally or in a book, in his writings, the phrase Israelite Christian, do you know how much it would make Israel's struggle doctrine's own theology relevant and give it that oomph and that push and that cosign and the justification? If he really used that word, those words. Right there, he's supposed to say, let me show you that a man in the 20th century, I am not the first to use the phrase Israelite Christian, that the late, great Herbert W. Armstrong used this same phrase. Do you know how much clout, do you know how much respect and clout Israel doctrine could gain if he could get somebody greater than himself in the Bible to show where they use the same term that he's now calling himself? But notice he doesn't. Let's go through it. He won't, he can't, and he doesn't.
Like Christian. It's gonna hit these YouTube podcast streets like never before, because you never heard the term Israelite Christian used in this century.
See, when he came up with the term Israelite Christian, he was claiming that it was an original phrase, an original term. That's what he said. Hell, that's what he's been saying up until today. What is it? January the 9th, 2026? Up until today, he's been taking credit for the phrase Israelite Christian. But now he's doing a little bit of Michael Jackson moonwalking, going backwards, and now he's saying, you just haven't heard the phrase Israelite Christian in the 21st century. And then he goes on to lie on a dead man, incorrectly calling the man William instead of Wright or Herbert W. Armstrong, bastardizes the man's name, and then puts a phrase and words in the man's mouth that he is unable to substantiate or show proof that this man in the last century, in the 20th century, that he was the forerunner of what Israel doctrine is saying today. He's supposed to show us. He's supposed to show us that there was a man in the 20th century that first used the phrase Israelite Christian. But he can't, and he won't.
William Armstrong used it last century.
Citation. You know what Sinetta say? Source up or shut the fuck up. Where's the source? Where's the source? Don't just tell us that he said Israelite Christian. Don't you think struggle doctrine, that's a very important part of your ministry? To show somebody else greater than you who's done far more biblical and ministerial work than you? Someone who could bolster and back up and co-sign what you putting down today? Don't you think it's important to bring up his words? But you haven't. You've been talking about being an Israelite Christian for over a year, and you've never shown the words of Mr. Herbert W. Armstrong. And that's telling. The fact that you've been talking about being a Christian, an Israelite Christian for over a year, and you have never shown one other person of note, one other scholar, Bible teacher, anybody of note and of relevancy who used that same phrase. In over a year, you haven't shown it. And today, you haven't shown it. You're only saying that the man said he was an Israelite Christian. Where's the proof? Where's the source? Where's the citation?
A European that said he was an Israelite.
He might have said that. I think he did say that. I mean, he talks about British Israelism. I'm sure that Herbert W. Armstrong did talk about Europeans being Israelites in a spiritual way, not in a physical way. I've studied the works of Herbert W. Armstrong, and he never said something like, like the black folk in America saying they are the true Jews, they are the true Hebrews, they are the true Israelites, they are the true Hebrew Israelites. That's their nationality, that's their DNA, that's their deoxyribonucleic acid, that's in their genes and chromosomes. Herbert W. Armstrong never claimed that Gentiles or Europeans had the DNA of the Israelites. He never claimed that. See, Israel's struggle with doctor's problem is he dealing with a motherfucker like me that understands and have read the works of all these people. There's nobody he can talk about that I have not read. I got Herbert W. Armstrong on my shelf. I meant to bring him out. I have to find him. I read his work. When I was 16, 17, 18, I was listening to him as a teenager.
And because he believed he was an Israelite, which he could have been a Israelite.
He never believed he was a physical, earthly, carnal DNA Israelite. You're lying on the man. When he talked of being an Israelite as a white man, he was talking about through Jesus Christ and inheriting Israelism, or as he called it, British Israelism. He was not saying he was a physical Israelite like black people in America. You are lying on the man. And your problem is you think nobody knows the work of Herbert W. Armstrong. I know the work of Herbert W. Armstrong. I've been knowing Herbert W. Armstrong for almost over 50 years. I was watching Herbert W. Armstrong in high school. In the 70s, I was listening to the radio and watching Herbert W. Armstrong. He was on TV. And I did find him fascinating when he talked about end-time prophecies and shit like that. You're lying on a dead man.
We deal with the whole dynamics of Israel only, which most people misunderstand. They come out here and say it's all about Israel, but they won't make everybody Israel.
And just like Jesus didn't. In the whole four Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, where Jesus supposedly speaks, the word Israelite is only mentioned once. In John 1 and 47, the last of the four Gospels, the first chapter, the 47th verse, we get, and it ain't Jesus saying it, but we get the word Israelite. The 12 apostles, the 12 disciples, they never mentioned being Israelites. Jesus never mentions the word Israelite. He didn't harp on it. We know that Jesus was from the tribe of Judah or Yehuda. Yes, Jesus was an Israelite. But in the grand scheme of his ministry, he simply doesn't use the word Israelite. Neither does Jesus use the word Hebrew. We today make more of an issue and a hubbub about the word Hebrew and the word Israelite than Jesus and the 12 disciples ever did. You can't find the word Hebrew or Israelite coming from the mouth, from the jibs of Jesus or the 12 disciples. It is Paul that chooses to bring up the words Hebrew and Israelite in an effort to show that he has a pedigree to the Jewish law amongst the Gentiles. I'm not going to be long on this, but I just wanted to point that out. He makes a hoo-ha about the word Israelite. There are 66 books in the whole Bible, King James. And the word Israelite is only mentioned 25 times. Mostly Old Testament. And when it comes to the New Testament, the word Israelite is only mentioned 4 times. And in the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, the word Israelite is only mentioned once. John 1 and 47. I meant to have it queued up, but I want to find the part where Israel's struggle doctrine tries a little tricky wordplay, because he talks about not being able to find the word Hebrew Israelite in the Bible, which is true. But then he says you can find the word Christian in the Bible. He makes an unfounded analogy. What he should have said is you can't find the word, or what he should have said is you can't find the words Hebrew Israelite in the Bible together, but you can find the words Israelite Christian in the Bible. But being tricky like a serpent, he leaves off the word Israelite and says, oh, you can't find the words Hebrew Israelite in the Bible, but you can find the word Christian in the Bible. You see what he did? It's an unfounded, unfair analogy. If we're talking about the two terms and the two phrases, you can't leave off Israelite when you talk about what you believe in. You can't find the term Hebrew Israelite in the Bible, but you can find the term Israelite. No, bitch nigga, you can't find the term Israelite Christian. But he conveniently leaves off the word Israelite because he knows, just like Hebrew Israelite, which is not in the Bible, the term Israelite Christian is in the Bible. Let me see if I can find that. I meant to have that queued up because that is really necessary. Maybe I wrote it down somewhere. Let me see if I wrote that down somewhere, because that's something I really wanted to show you, how he plays with words and how tricky he tries to be. Let me see if I can find that. We might just listen to a little bit. Let's see.
Here to tell about my years of persecution by dealing with the Africa Bambaataa situation. That's where I started my online ministry. I didn't come out say I was an Israelite, a Christian. I didn't say I was a Hebrew Israelite, none of that stuff. I just came out and ministered to people and told about the daily operations that was going on in the country community. I went to Atlanta and debated a lot of things I've been through, people, but
just give me a moment.
Understanding. But this is all everybody online friends. And any other celebrity may know that y'all might know. Y'all may have seen them and give clarity and to explain the things that haven't, or should I say, that's what this show about. Conscious community.
The video's only 15 minutes, so I should be able to.
Yet they jealous happen in the conscious community. A podcaster to people. Bay, all of them over there. Also, young Pharaoh, she was show. Hopefully, spazzed out on them. They turned against me because they love their leader. And that's why y'all should understand I have never called myself a Hebrew Israelite.
You're a liar. You called yourself a Hebrew Israelite for 11 years. You didn't challenge the veracity or truthfulness of the Hebrew Israelite notion, phrase, and term until 2007. We saw that in the last video. In the last video, he says that. Yeah. In the last video. Hananiah, his reader, asked him, when did you start bucking against the term Hebrew Israelite? He joined in 96. in 2007, when he joined YouTube, is when he started talking shit against Hebrew Israelites. As a matter of fact, he says in my last video, he actually says he came out on the side of the Hebrew Israelites and fought with them against Sinetter and the conscious community. Yes, yes he did. Yes he did. Let me find
I'm
this.
gonna go in the boxing ring and say, I'm Apollo Creed Jr. It's on 75th. Now it's in Ashcroft, who now has for years. Then a brother there, they had an issue or whatever. I don't know the history of it. He left. His name was up from where I stayed. I can serve the people and get an eldership. Now, when I got the eldership, my mother had cancer, but that don't diminish who I am at all. I knew it then. I know it. Sororities, this and that. This is what the institutions joining sororities.
Here's some weird shit. The niggas mentioning college sororities and men who join college sororities. Another blunder. Men are not part of sororities. Men are part of fraternities. Let me play that. Just little things that he just says that are just wrong.
And going to major public institutions, joining sororities, this and that. This is what the government.
See, he's talking about himself. He says, I never went to college. I never went to major institutions. He's talking about himself as a man and joined sororities. Men don't join sororities, bitch nigga.
Stuff, but that don't diminish who I am at all. And get an eldership. Now, when I got the eldership,
he got an eldership from the third church that he joined and quit.
My mother had cancer. My father had died. My mother came up with cancer. And I had to bring her to Arkansas. Because she wanted to come to Arkansas. And none of the other children was capable of doing it. I was capable.
See how he always tries to shit on his family? He tries to shit on his siblings by saying none of the other family were capable of bringing his mother from Chicago back to Peoria, back to Arkansas. Parking. See how he tries to shit on his family? How he tries to lessen and disrespect and demean his siblings, that they were not capable of bringing his mother back, and he was. The bitch nigga don't want to say, well, I was able to do it because I was the only one unemployed. No job, no career, no children, no wife, no girlfriend. I had nothing going on. So of course, let little Carly Carl take care of my dear. Because the other siblings were well on their way in life with jobs, careers, going to college, education, raising children, grandchildren. But he tried to demean them like he was better than his siblings. And he was the one, he had the wherewithal to take care of my dear. Don't let me start talking about those empty ass refrigerators again. Don't let me start talking about how he had his mother living in filth and squalor with no goddamn food in the cupboards or the refrigerator. Don't let me start talking about him having to go out on a Sabbath day and spend money and buy his mama a Sonic burger and chase it down with tap water. Don't let me go there. He's always trying to make himself better than his siblings. Listen to this bullshit.
Eldership. My mother had cancer.
Here it comes. His mother had cancer. Watch him try to shit on his brothers and sisters, and he was the only one capable of helping her.
My father had died.
Here it comes.
My mother came up with cancer. And I had to bring her to Arkansas. Because she wanted to come to Arkansas. And none of the other children was capable of doing it. I was capable of doing it because I've always had a rebel spirit.
It ain't nothing to do with your motherfucking rebel spirit. Nigga, you was capable of doing it because you the only motherfucker that had nothing going on. Yeah, go take care of mama. Stop it, my nigga. You were chosen because you was the nigga that wasn't about shit. You were the child, the youngest child that wasn't about shit. Again, no job, no career, no wife, no girlfriend, no children. You had nothing going on, my nigga. They sent you to take care of mama because you were the ain't shit nigga in the family. Ain't got nothing to do with you being no motherfucking rebel. Stop it.
Never graduated from high school, none of that stuff. But that.
Okay, here he goes now, talking about going to college, higher institutions, and joining sororities. Don't know man or male join a sorority, my nigga. We join fraternities. Listen to this shit.
That don't diminish who I am at all. I knew it then, I know it now. But people try to come at me because of my lack of a high school diploma and going to major public institutions, joining sororities, this and that. This is what.
See? Ignorant. Joining major sororities. Nigga, men don't join sororities. You stupid ass nigga. I'm just having fun, y'all. But I want to find this one part where he tries to equate Hebrew Israelite with Christian.
What the government and try to use on me and floss on me.
But he leaves off. I want to find the part where he tries to compare and make an analogy between the term Hebrew Israelite and Christian, because he conveniently leaves off the phrase Israelite with Christian. I'm trying to find that. Now he's talking about me.
Try to use government money and his DJ K Slade hip hop ties and 50 Cent ties and stuff to try to.
Where's 50 Cent at? Oh. Be right back. He's talking about me, y'all. My government ties and my DJ K Slade ties, you know. He's talking about me. He's jealous of my life. Because I have really done some shit, been around some people. I've done some shit. I've been around some people. People know me. I'm not just famous on the internet. He's talking about me, see? There I am. What he does. He talks about me. Yes, he is.
Use government money and his DJ K Slade hip hop ties and 50 Cent ties and stuff to try to come at me. But
the nigga is jealous about my life. Because I got a backstory. I lived a life.
This is the first episode, people. I just want to put what I've been laying down. We used to be brothers and sisters. We are.
Okay. We're going to go back now to, this is a 15-minute video, but in this video, hopefully I can find it, where he makes a very untrue and very unfounded analogy about Hebrew Israelites versus Israelite Christian. I should have had it, but I didn't think about it. But
years of persecution that I have faced within.
We'll just sit back and listen for me. Just listen to him. Oh, it's a woe is me situation. We'll listen for a few minutes and just see if we can catch it.
What is known as the conscious community, the YouTube community, based off the conscious community, and they claim to be about truth and on years of persecution by dealing with the Africa Bambaataa situation that happened in the conscious community. I found the government informant, didn't know, and the conscious community turned the government informant against me.
Oh, woe is me. The conscious community turned Khalil against you. Boy, what these narratives are so, they're just lies and fabrications. But let's go on and listen to Struggle Doctrine. He's on some woe is me right now.
I don't know what all we're going to talk about here, people, how long we're going to talk about it. But I have been a podcaster since the beginning. Blog Talk Radio is where I started. It's where I started my online ministry. I didn't come out say I was an Israelite, a Christian, I didn't say I was a Hebrew Israelite, none of that stuff. I just came out and ministered to people and told about the daily operations that was going on in the country community. All of them over there. Eventually, my yacht was a government informant that most people, which is me.
We're going to find it.
Mental stability exposed like never before. So online, because like I said, I've been persecuted like crazy.
Woe is me. Everybody been bothering me. Woe is me.
I've been persecuted like crazy by the conscious community. And as I said, I went to the hip hop community through the conscious community, dealing with the Africa Bambaataa date rape thing, and everybody online spazzed out on me. They turned against me because they love their leader, Hassan Campbell.
Oh, let's talk about Hassan Campbell. Shout out to Hassan Campbell. I mean, he took lemons and made lemonade out of a fucked up situation. Respect.
A New York guy that went on YouTube, a celebrity may know, but this is what I've been fighting against. He's a government informant, someone that informed on Yahweh Ben Yahweh back in the 80s. It came out in the 90s and hit the scene in the 90s and stuff, and the government made him famous. As he liked to play audio that I said, he is a national treasure.
You said it, nigga. Don't get mad at me because I played what you said. He said I was a national treasure. Don't get mad at me.
This is something I was telling somebody. He heard the audio, they got the snippet, and he put it up. I'm a national treasure.
Yeah, I just played your words back. What's the problem?
It's cool, you're a national treasure, but me being beside the national treasure.
You ain't beside me, bitch nigga. You are not beside me. I mean, in your world you are. But when I die, my eulogy, no one's going to mention Carl Albert Davis or Israel Doctrine. They're going to be, when somebody finally writes a Wikipedia page about me, you won't be mentioned in my Wikipedia page. Years from now, when colleges and universities study hip-hop and come across my work, even when they come across the Africa Bambaataa story, you won't be nowhere in the pictures. You're not beside me, nigga. We aren't joined at the hip. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry.
Makes me what? Whatever you want to call me. I'm
nothing.
Not ashamed to be called whatever you want to call me.
I call you nothing because you're nothing but a struggler.
Because I am a Israelite by nationality and I'm a Christian by faith. The term that the Gentiles put on the first Israelites that follow Christ. Most people don't know that. I put that out there. The government informant tried to persecute me on it. Because I was out here talking about Hebrew Israelite, it's not a proper term, it's not in the Bible, none of that. Now, when he talked about Israelite Christian, he couldn't say that Christian is not in the Bible. It's in there 3 times.
See, there you go. Oh, we found it at the 6-minute mark. You see how sneaky he is? What am I talking about? And I'm going to get up out of here. He was trying to compare the 2 phrases. But did you hear Israelite when it came to Christian? No, you didn't. Oh, sneaky bastard you. You were supposed to say, when I was talking about Hebrew Israelite, which is not in the Bible, but Christian Israelite is in the Bible. That should have been the comparison. But he leaves off the word Israelite because he knows the phrase Israelite Christian is not in the Bible. So he says Hebrew Israelite is not in the Bible, but Christian is. Nobody's arguing that. The word Christian is in the Bible 3 times. But God damn it, the word Israelite is in the Bible 25 times. How come you left off the word Israelite when trying to compare the 2 phrases? Did you catch that? Let's go back. We caught it. We got it at the 6-minute mark. Patience wins the day. Listen real close.
Now, when he talked about Israelite Christian, he couldn't say that Christian is not in the Bible.
See, when I talked about Israelite Christian, he was supposed to say, he can't say that Israelite Christian not in the Bible. See how he leaves off the Israelite part? This nigga's like a serpent, y'all. Did you see what he just did? When we talked about Hebrew Israelites, he can't say, he should have said, he can't say that Israelite Christian is not in the Bible. I've never argued that the word Christian wasn't in the Bible. I know it's in the Bible. It starts in Acts 11, 26 at Antioch. But this is what slick people do who don't have an argument, who are trying to conflate the argument. Let's go back again. This is really interesting. Watch how he says Hebrew Israelite. What he's trying to do is compare what he says is not in the Bible versus what is in the Bible. But he don't say, he lets you know that those two words together, Hebrew Israelite, are not in the Bible. But when he talks about what he says he is, he leaves off Israelite and says Christian. The Hebrew Israelite is not in the Bible, but he won't say that Israelite Christian is also not in the Bible because he knows what he calls himself is also not in the Bible. So he drops the Israelite and simply says the Hebrew Israelite is not in the Bible, but the Christian is not in the Bible. We're not arguing whether the Christian is in the Bible. We're arguing whether the word Hebrew Israelite Christian is in the Bible. Look how slick he is.
None of that. Now, when he talked about Israelite Christian, he couldn't say that Christian is not in the Bible.
See? When I talked about Israelite Christian, I couldn't say that Christian wasn't in the Bible. What kind of argument is that? When I could turn the tables and say, when I talk about the Hebrew Israelites, I can't say that Hebrew is not in the Bible because Hebrew is. I couldn't say that Israelite is not in the Bible because Israelite is also. He's mismanaging the argument. He's mismanaging it. He's leaving off words. When I talked about Israelite Christian, what he would like to say, what he wants to say, is that I can't say that the phrase Israelite Christian is not in the Bible because he would like to say that it is in the Bible, but he knows it's not in the Bible. So he conveniently drops the word Israelite and says, I can't say Christian is in the Bible. What kind of stupid shit is this? I hope y'all understand the argument. I understand what he just did.
It's not a proper term. It's not in the Bible. None of that. I was out here talking about Hebrew Israelite. It's not a proper term. It's not in the Bible.
Okay, Hebrew Israelite is not a proper term and not in the Bible. Now, let's talk about what you call yourself, Israelite Christian. Is it a proper term and is it in the Bible? And you have to say the same thing about your phrase. The phrase you call yourself, Israelite Christian, is the same as the phrase that the Hebrew Israelites call. The phrase Hebrew Israelite is not in the Bible, and the phrase that you call yourself, Israelite Christian, is not in the Bible. They both are not in the Bible. But all of the words in some combination can be found. You can find the word Christian in the Bible 3 times. You can find the word Hebrew in the Bible over 40 times. And you can find the word Israelite in the Bible over 25 times. But when we start talking about putting shit together as compound or hyphenated words, Hebrew Israelite, it's not in the Bible. If you have that same understanding about those two words, how can you then name yourself an Israelite Christian and those two words, like Hebrew Israelite, are not found in the Bible? And so when you want to make a case and an argument, what you simply do when it comes to your shit, when it comes to the Israelite Christian, you drop the Israelite and say, you can find Christian in the Bible. We know you can find Christian in the Bible. Can we find Israelite Christian? That is the argument. Oh, these slick motherfuckers. I'm going to do this and I'm about out of here.
Out there, the government informant tried to persecute me on it. Because I was out here.
Okay, here it comes. Listen as he fucks up and bastardizes the argument. The argument is whether the phrase Hebrew Israelite is in the Bible and the phrase Israelite Christian is in the Bible. We know that both phrases together are not in the Bible. But he will say he has no problem letting you all know that Hebrew Israelite is not in the Bible. But when it gets to his phrase, Israelite Christian, he conveniently drops the Israelite part. He don't mention it. And then wants to say that the word Christian is in the Bible, which we know it is. 3 times. It's a bullshit argument. Listen.
Here talking about Hebrew Israelite, it's not a proper term, it's not in the Bible, none of that. Now, when he talked about Israelite Christian, he couldn't say that Christian.
See? When I talked about Israelite Christian, he was supposed to say he couldn't say that Israelite Christian was in the Bible. But he's smart enough to know he better not say that shit, so he conveniently drops the word Israelite and just uses the word Christian. And we're not arguing that the word Christian is not in the Bible, because it is 3 times. Nobody got a problem with that. The argument is the phrase Israelite Christian together as a hyphenated or a compound word in the Bible, just like you argue that the word Hebrew Israelite is not in the Bible. You talk about the fucking dishonesty. This is dishonesty. And he's relying on the ignorance of people to not catch the fact that when he said Hebrew Israelite, he thumped his chest that the phrase was not in the Bible. But when it came to his phrase, Israelite Christian, he dropped that Israelite quick. He dropped it like he had a hot potato in his hand. He dropped it like he dropped it like he picked up some hot spaghetti and put it in his mouth, and the shit was too hot, and spit it back in the plate. That's what he did to the word Israelite, and only said Christian. Oh, what a piece of work. What a deceptive piece of work he is. One more time and we're done.
I was out here talking about Hebrew Israelite. It's not a proper term. It's not in the Bible. None of that. Now, when he talked about Israelite Christian, he couldn't say that Christian is not in the Bible.
See? You see what he did? You see what he did? No. When I talked about Israelite Christian, you were supposed to say Israelite Christian is not in the Bible, not Christian. Because Christian is in the Bible, fuck nigga. Why you conveniently tried to do a sleight of hand? Why you tried to do a 3-card Monty on the conversation? I never said anything about Christian not being in the Bible. I know the Bible back and forth. I know Christian was first used at Antioch, Acts 11:26. I know that the word Christian is used 2 more times, a total of 3 times. That's not the argument, my nigga. Why you did a sleight of hand? Why you switched it? You start out by saying Israelite Christian, but then you drop Israelite on the second half of your conversation about Israelite Christian. One more time, y'all. I just think this is fascinating. I just think this is some fascinating sleight of hand by his mouth.
Because I was out here talking about Hebrew Israelite, it's not a proper term. It's not in the Bible.
Okay, so we got the Hebrew Israelite part. It's not a proper term, and it's not in the Bible. Fine. So next we go to the term Israelite Christian, and watch him do a little trickery by not mentioning Israelite and only Christian.
None of that. Now, when he talked about Israelite Christian,
okay, that's the subject. When I talked about Israelite Christian, so your next statement about what I talked about should have been in defense of Israelite Christian, not Christian. I said I talked about Israelite Christian not being in the Bible. So his statement in defense of Israelite Christian should have said Israelite Christian is not in the Bible. Well, but what does he do? He knows better. He doesn't mention Israelite, and he says Christian is in the Bible. Of course it is. And no one over here argues that the word Christian is not in the Bible. I argued that the phrase Israelite Christian is not in the Bible, just like the phrase Hebrew Israelite is in the Bible. But why would you, bitch nigga, forget to mention, you just mentioned Israelite Christian, but when you bring it up on the end of that, why would you drop the Israelite and just say Christian? Because you know that your phrase, Israelite Christian, is in the same category and same department as the word Hebrew Israelite. It does not exist in the Bible. All right, I'm going to play it one time, and I'm going to wrap that up. I just wanted to drive it home, that's all.
Israelite is not a proper term. It's not in the Bible.
Hold on, go back. Okay.
Persecute me on it.
I'll be quiet.
Because I was out here talking about Hebrew Israelite. It's not a proper term. It's not in the Bible. None of that. Now, when he talked about Israelite Christian, he couldn't say that Christian is not in the Bible. It's in there 3 times.
You see, he bastardized his own argument. And I just wanted to point that out to y'all. He bastardized his own argument. He conflated his own argument. The argument was about the use of Hebrew Israelite versus the use of Israelite Christian. He condemned the Hebrew Israelites, but when he got to his made up shit, he knew he better not say Israelite Christian is in the Bible. So he put the Israelite to the side, and then he wanted to make an argument about whether the word Christian alone was in the Bible. And nobody ever made that argument. We know that the word Christian is in the Bible 3 times. Okay. I just want y'all to see what kind of nigga I'm dealing with. What kind of nigga I'm dealing with. Okay, I think we got done with this one, yeah. So yeah, go back and watch the last one if you haven't seen it. The nigga was playing hopscotch with 3 different Israelite camps. The nigga lied on Brother Bowie, he lied on Brother Danny, and he lied on Brother Marlon. Those aren't Hebrew Israelite sects. This nigga looked at what Brother Bowie did with all those people and what Brother Danny did with all those people in that building. Got a whole choir and shit. He looked at what Brother Marlon was doing, all those people, those great websites and the stuff they were doing in the community, and simply put, Israel's struggle doctrine, he wants to be a leader of men and women, but he doesn't have the charisma. He doesn't have the Bible knowledge. He doesn't have what it takes to be a leader of men and women. So he attacked those 3 brothers. He attacked the Israel of God church. He attacked the House of Jacob church. And he attacked the Church of Israel church. And the leaders, Bowie, Danny, and Marlon, he attacked them, calling them Hebrew Israelites so that he could try to build upon and be bigger and better than them. But as we have it, they have people, they have congregations, they even have buildings, brick and mortar. And Israel, again, struggle doctrine has nothing but a church on paper. He has nothing but a church on paper. And then he lies on Herbert W. Armstrong and claims that Herbert W. Armstrong, the great Christian preacher, that he coined the phrase or used to say that he was an Israelite Christian. And so My dare to Israel struggle doctrine is to show us proof that the late great Dr. Herbert W. Armstrong called himself an Israelite Christian. If you can do that, my nigga, do you know what that would do for your ministry? You would have some legs to call yourself an Israelite Christian. But until you can produce a book, a line, a paragraph where the late great Dr. I keep forgetting his name, Herbert W. Armstrong, until you can produce any of his work where he says, I am an Israelite Christian, you're lying on a dead man. That's a challenge. If he said it, if he really said that, how come a year and change after you call yourself an Israelite Christian, how come you haven't bolstered your theology with someone of that magnitude? What a great cosign that would be to get the words of the late, great Dr. Herbert W. Armstrong, where he says he is an Israelite Christian. Until you do that, you're just lying on a dead man. With that, y'all, I've had fun again. Y'all take care. I'm about to go get us something to eat. Me and the wife. We're gonna have some sub sandwiches. Not at Subway. We're going to a real ritzy, high-end sub sandwich place. Yeah. Gotta go to work soon. Gotta go to work soon. Gotta go to work soon. Talk to you later. Peace.